The Sky Method. Chapter 1. Explanation of how this money-saving method of wastewater treatment works. Let's watch the following video. This is a description of my idea for a wastewater treatment method and a record of a minimum-scale practical experiment. This video is for promotional purposes only and does not contain detailed technical explanations. The treated water passes through pumice and coconut fibers. We are looking for collaborators to conduct replication experiments, small-scale practical experiments, and various applications of the wastewater treatment method. Because I have devised a money-saving method of wastewater treatment, and I want to spread it to as many people as possible. I offer this free of charge to anyone who wants to use this method. We hope that people who are interested in this method will run additional experiments. The reason for the free release will be explained in another video. This is the treated water by this method. On the left is the water collected from the septic tank. Center is treated water. On the right is treated water with additional bleaching. Question. How does it bad smell? Answer. You can smell the river in the countryside near this treatment method. That's the smell of natural microorganisms in action. Can you remember that smell? The wastewater microbial treatment plant is not operating properly if the bad odor is coming from the plant. This treatment method replicates the workings of a river as a facility. Rivers use microorganisms and streams of water to digest the dirt that flows in from the forests and surroundings. The reason why we named it Sky Method. S is a sponge. K is kuruishi pumice stone in Japanese. Y is yashishini coconut fiber in Japanese. The basics of wastewater treatment. Wastewater treatment can be explained in a few words. The natural microorganisms that live in water multiply by eating the dirt in the water. Microorganisms increase. Many microorganisms eat a lot of dirt as the cyclic reaction continues repeatedly. So the water gradually becomes cleaner. This is the microbial treatment process for wastewater. The two types of microorganisms that work for wastewater treatment. First is an aerobic microorganism that active in water that is rich in dissolved oxygen. Second, an anaerobic microorganism that is active in water where oxygen is not dissolved. The biggest challenge in microbial wastewater treatment is how to increase the number of these two types of microorganisms. In the case of aerobic microorganisms, the dissolved oxygen must be increased by repeated contact between water and air. Almost all wastewater treatment plants blow air into the water. These require large tanks and big blowers. This is where expensive facilities costs and large electricity bills come in. The key point to note here is the way water and air come into contact with each other. In the case of anaerobic microorganisms, set up a habitat where they can easily live. The background photo shows a microbial carrier used by many wastewater treatment facilities around the world. The unit price of these is inexpensive. Wastewater treatment facilities require the use of many of these, which makes them expensive. These are not available in our local stores. Explanation of the basics of Sky Method. The key point of the Sky method is the idea of not spending money. We spend as minimal money as possible to get the same result. We buy materials locally and fabricate locally as much as possible if we want to get the same result. The treated water is repeatedly circulated through the aerobic and anaerobic microbial treatment sections in the Sky method. Wastewater treatment is effective when multiple methods are combined. The important thing in wastewater treatment is the constant movement and circulation of water. Please remember, the water in the river is always moving. We have to use a pump to get this kind of circulatory action. We would be happy if we could get a non-electric driven pump. The background figure shows the basic flow diagram of the Sky method. Let's see video chapter 3 explains the technology in a little more detail. The Sky method aerobic microbial wastewater treatment uses suspended sponges. A method that allows water and air to come into contact. The Sky method exposes the water to air. Soak the hanging sponge with processing water. Allow the sponge to be exposed to natural air. The aerobic microbial colony that forms inside the sponge eats the dirt in the water to reproduce. We don't need to pay for the large electricity bills for the air blower if we do it this way. Further drape the plant around the sponge. The oxygen produced by the plants through photosynthesis is used for the activities of aerobic microorganisms in the sponge. Drooping plants will also prevent water from splashing. A wastewater treatment facility surrounded by plants gives a good impression to the society. The Sky method of anaerobic microbial wastewater treatment uses submerged pumice stone and coconut fiber. Pumice stone and coconut fiber are excellent microbial carriers. And they are available everywhere at low prices. Anaerobic microorganisms live in the minute crevices and pores they have. The water in the fish pond is contaminated with fish excrement and leftover food. This water must be purified because it slows the growth of fish. This video shows an example of purifying fish tank water by simply passing it through pumice stone. The gray objects are microbial colonies that have formed around the pumice stone. These microorganisms eat the dirt in the water. This is an example of a coconut fiber block installed to purify an urban river where domestic wastewater flows. The water near the coconut fiber is clean and fish can live in it. The net-like bags are filled with coconut fiber. The cloud-like substance attached to the bag is a microbial colony. This is Asteroda San Miguel in Metro Manila. The Sky method uses pumice and coconut fiber as carriers for anaerobic microorganisms because of this experience. The water that passes through the pumice and coconut fibers returns to the hanging sponge to repeat the process. I assume that common reed, known as the Phragmites australis, can be used as a substitute if coconut fiber is not available. I also assume that tough and natural zeolite can be used as a substitute for pumice. Sky Methodno is being developed by Green Ninja Group in the Philippines. This concludes the explanation of how Sky method works. Thank you for watching the video. Please see the video chapter 2, the background to this idea and the reason for the free release. Also, please see the video chapter 3 explains the technology in a little more detail.